Have you ever let someone into your house only to realize they ain't really there to hang out with you? They're almost like looking at your stuff to kind of size you up. I used to have a boy, hey man, come over and play video games with me. How many games you got? How many systems you have? It's almost like they're not interested in you at all. That's what Apple said happened with OpenAI. Less than 2 years ago, these two companies, they look like partners. You know, Apple put ChatGPT in the iPhone. Tim Cook stood on stage and what did he tell us? Apple Intelligence, which also is AI, so a bit confusing, I know. But it looked like Apple has finally embraced the AI revolution. Fast forward to today, Apple's suing OpenAI. And if the allegations are true, this isn't just your typical big tech company suing you over this or that. This is a story about how two allies became ops. And this is all over a device that could potentially replace the iPhone that also doesn't exist. So it's all kind of like based off fear and what could happen. All right, so to understand why this is such a big deal, let's go back. For years, Apple had one obvious weakness: Siri. Now, ChatGPT writing code, Gemini summarizing documents, Claude helping people build businesses, Grok allowing you to augment whatever things you want to augment. But Siri, it was still struggling. It couldn't even answer questions people were asking. It would just pop up Safari, and it was just one of the worst experiences ever. It's actually something I think a lot of Apple fans have just forgotten even exists. We all know Apple has incredible hardware, and ever since they ditched those Intel chips and moved over to the M1 all the way to the M5 now, it's probably the best ecosystem when we're talking about consumer technology. But everyone knew, as good as they were with their hardware, they were behind in the AI. Now, OpenAI, on the other hand, they had the exact opposite problem. Arguably had the best AI product in the world, but it didn't own the customers. People would have to download ChatGPT through their computer or someone else's phone, someone else's operating system. So Apple needed AI, OpenAI needed distribution. That makes perfect sense. That sounds like a great partnership. Sounds like Kanye and Drake collaborating, until you realize those people, they don't really get along. Apple integrated ChatGPT into iOS. Millions of iPhone users suddenly had access to OpenAI. Everybody wins. At least that's what it looked like. Now, you guys might have heard like Apple, when they were rolling out the iPhone 16 or when they were doing M4 silicon chips, a lot of people were hearing like you need to get the latest Mac so you can get the latest AI features, and they were advertising all these amazing AI features. Well, those really never came because behind the scenes, something else was happening. OpenAI wasn't just building smarter models, it was quietly building a hardware team. But not just any hardware team. It was like they copy and pasted the Apple's hardware team. Now, one of the biggest names in this whole story is Tang Tang. And if you ever heard of them, that's probably normal. Because the most important people at Apple, usually, they're not celebrities. They're engineers who spent years designing products behind closed doors. Now, Tan spent years helping build product at Apple before leaving to work with the legendary Apple designer Jony Ive. Jony Ive, kind of a celebrity. Why? Well, this guy helped design the iPhone, the iMac. I mean, he has almost touched everything you love and behold about Apple. He is that guy. Well, OpenAI liked Jony, and they're like, we want to acquire your company. So then OpenAI had Jony Ive, and Tan, according to Apple, hundreds of other former Apple employees were jumping ship. You guys remember this image where Sam Altman and Jony was like, oh my god, they're combining, what are they going to make? See, this changed everything, because now OpenAI wasn't just making software. It had people capable of building the next great consumer device. Here's where things get serious, in my opinion. The Apple lawsuit does not say it's illegal to hire former Apple employees, because look, that happens all the time. People leave Google to go to Meta, they go Meta to Microsoft, Apple to Amazon. That's normal. What Apple is alleging is something very, very different. According to the lawsuit, certain former employees allegedly, I have to say allegedly because it needs to be proven in court, access confidential Apple information. If you didn't know, leaving a company like Apple, they will make sure to do everything in their power. You can't take anything with you outside of yourself. And even then, that might be debatable. So Apple's saying, hey, y'all became company materials. You share proprietary information after leaving. Now, of course, OpenAI has denied all wrongdoings, and it says it respects competitors' intellectual property. So nothing has been proven in court. But if you ignore the legal battle, the timing tells a really interesting story. You know, think about it from Apple's perspective. You know, imagine you're Apple. You invite OpenAI. Why don't you guys come over here? we got the iPhone, we got so many users, we need help with AI. Why don't we partner together? And a year later, that same company that hired many of your former employees is now working with the designer who helped you create the iPhone. And report says, oh, hey, I'm hearing Sam Altman and Jony Ive, they're not trying to build an iPhone, they're trying to build an AI device. At some point, you're going to start seeing them as partners, and you're going to be like this, hold up. I thought we were boys. What's all this hostility about? And you start looking at them like they're competition. So here's the question. Why does Apple care so much? Well, OpenAI, they're not trying to build an iPhone. They're trying to build a product that is centered around AI itself. That is a problem for Apple. If you think of what Apple is good at, everything's the screen, your iPhone, your iPad, everything we interact with is through a screen. Everything you download is through the App Store. They've created this ecosystem we've just accepted. But imagine if you didn't need any of that. Imagine how we interact with technology 10 years from now. It's just completely different than how we use phones today. Imagine having some glasses, pendulum, something on you that you can just talk to, and it does things. Iron Man, Jarvis, y'all seen it, so I don't have to describe it, but imagine if we were closer to that. Would you still be using an iPhone? Think about how you use your phone today. You need to order food, you open up Uber Eats. You need directions, you open up Maps. Probably Google Maps, because let's be real, is anybody using Apple Maps? But if you need to buy something, you go into Amazon. Here's the thing, every action starts with an app. Apple owns that whole experience. Developers built around that experience. The App Store exists because of that experience. Now imagine a world where you don't open any apps. You simply say, book me a flight, order groceries, schedule lunch with John, actually cancel lunch with John. Find me the cheapest camera. And the assistants, because we've seen it, these models are getting better. It's like, oh, I can not only answer questions, I can go to the site, find it for the best price, and just do all that behind the scenes while you're going outside for a walk. Maybe you're walking your dog. The assistant becomes the new interface. And that makes the phone less important. Now, if the phone is less important, Apple doesn't really like that, because as much as they might do a Vision Pro, which has kind of dropped off in terms of sales, as much as they would love to do more MacBooks and iPads, that iPhone is why they're $1 trillion company. And that is Apple's biggest competitive advantage. And if that starts to disappear, whoo, that's war. So this isn't the first time Apple has faced something like this. The reason they're getting so worried about it is, if you didn't realize, years ago, probably before most of y'all were born, dating myself here, but Microsoft, they controlled the personal computing world through Windows. And then what did Apple do? Well, they shifted the whole world towards smartphones. So companies that dominated one area don't automatically dominate the next. Think of it like you had Mike, you had Kobe, then you had Bron, and we're still trying to figure out who's going to be the next one to dominate. But just because you dominated one doesn't mean you will dominate in the future. That's why when people argue who's the greatest of all time, it's almost impossible, because I can't take Mike and throw him into 2020. And here's the thing, Apple understands this better than anyone. Why? Because they almost wrote the book about it. They are literally investing billions of dollars into AI, because they know the next interface might not be a touchscreen. It might be a conversation. Now, what's especially fascinating is who isn't being sued. Jony Ive, the man who helped design the iMac, the iPod, the iPhone, shoot, the iPad. I don't think there's something he hasn't touched. He's the most influential designer in modern history. He's working at OpenAI. Apple didn't sue him. Instead, the lawsuit is really focused on specific employees and allegedly misuse of confidential information. Like I was telling you earlier, hey, Caleb, we'll pay you a bag. Oh, you're gonna pay me a bag? Let me come over. Bring your friends. Hey, friends, why don't you come over? Also, maybe do some shady stuff when you come on over. Well, that's what Apple is trying to highlight. They're like, "Whoa, this isn't your typical, I'm just hopping job to job." They're taking information because they are getting trade secrets. They're getting confidential info. They're getting things about the iPhone 18. We don't even have all those documents yet. Again, these all are allegations. Allegations have to be proven in court. So you might be wondering, who's right? Honestly, we don't know yet. Maybe Apple has evidence that confidential information, but here's the thing, a company where you're using their computers, they have ways to track and monitor everything. So they might have confidential information. That confidential information was improperly taken. That's why you gotta be careful what you do on your work computer. Even though your cybersecurity department might be 0 out of 10, they might pick it up one day and actually realize, oh, we can track everything you did on our computer. computer, including what you saved, stored, email to work or personal accounts. And this is what the courts are going to have to sort out. But regardless of who wins legally, the lawsuit is really telling me something that's even more important. Apple no longer sees OpenAI as a helpful AI partner. They see OpenAI as a company capable of threatening the future of the iPhone. And like I said earlier, that's $1 trillion business. Do not mess with Apple's money, because if they can't beat you from an innovation standpoint, they will do everything in their power to bury you under lawsuit after lawsuit. Here's the part I can't stop thinking about, guys. You know, they spent nearly 20 years, Apple in this case, teaching us, you know, the smartphone should be the center of your attention. Everything you should do should go from the smartphone. And fast forward to today, OpenAI, this new tech company, they're kind of coming out, they're like, we have this new AI assistant, and we think the AI assistant should be the center of the experience, not the app, not the phone. The part that's crazy to me is like, Apple's like, yo, this is how you have to do it. And now they've seen some real innovation, and they finally are like, wait, we kind of beat IBM, we beat Microsoft, who's gonna come at us now? And it always comes in a way that you just couldn't even predict, because OpenAI is really trying to tell you, we don't know what the big shift is, but we're pretty sure it's not smartphones. We're pretty sure it's not touchscreens. And like, look at history. Look at history. Microsoft, what does Steve Ballmer say? Embarrassingly, like
$500 fully subsidized with a plan? I said, that is the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine.
Yes, people really buy an iPhone, and you did nothing about it. And honestly, sell the Clippers. Move on. Microsoft, come on. BlackBerry, underestimated. Touchscreen. I used to have a BlackBerry. BlackBerry was so ahead of the game, and then when the iPhone came out, they did not adapt quick enough. Nokia, underestimated software. Yes, it's amazing if my phone can last for 4 days straight because it's a brick, but outside of playing the Snake game, I want some more capabilities on my phone. The way I look at this is Apple, they have to decide whether AI is simply another feature, or is this the beginning of the new era? Judging based off the lawsuit, Apple, I think they think the stakes couldn't be higher, so that's why they're taking it so seriously. Again, these were partners. Think about sitting down, Tim Cook looking at Sam Altman, hey man, you need this, I got this, shake on it. And then 2 years later, yeah, we got beef. And look, we got a new CEO. So maybe the timing of it's like, we can do this now because Tim is on his way out. They got a new CEO coming in. He don't know what he's getting himself into, because it's our time to shine. And Apple, being a $1 trillion company that it is, ain't willing to let that fly. Now, there's a portion of this I just have to highlight. A lot of everything I've talked about today, it's really based off of fear, because Apple isn't going away tomorrow. They're not going away a year from now or even 5 years from now. But things shift really, really fast. It wasn't that long ago we were talking about Bitcoin, and then boom, everybody started talking about metaverse, and then it was like AI is actually the real big shift. So these companies are trying to do everything in their power to capitalize on the next wave, but none of us really know what the next wave is. It's going to be for the people to decide. Similar to when the iPhone dropped, it could have completely flopped, but it didn't. And now we do everything based off that device, and everything that's a competitor to it, remember, is following the footsteps of that initial iPhone. Apple's trying to avoid what they've done to all their competitors in the years past. If you enjoy this breakdown, hit that subscribe button, because the AI race is moving faster than any tech shift we've ever seen. I'm going to do my best to try to cover every major move as it happens. See you in the next one.